Hey, this is 6 Bolt in Von Doom's lab. So this is Hook of the Reaper version 1.2.3 or 1.2.3. So, so the first thing, am I back? Kind of yes or no. So if you probably didn't hear, I had a big medical test that happened, and yeah, the doctor called me back with the results. So I'll just kind of leave it as that. I think you probably can figure out, that. So I'll be probably out in and out a lot for the next probably 6 months. So I'll probably be being out here pretty soon. So that's why I just kind of wanted to get this out. So it's gonna, yeah. So I'll just move on. So actually, Hook of the Reaper reached its second milestone. So I completed all the default LG game files at the time. So now they're all posted up on the website. So hopefully the age of looking for game files is over. So that was kind of one of the big things I wanted to do was, have one game file pretty much for works with all the light guns. So now all the game files are included with the release and all that. So it's a big milestone. So now I'll be, especially after this release, we'll be working on the LED or light controller. Okay. So the next thing is I'll probably be moving the website. So I'm probably gonna. So I have a hosting company, and hosting has just gone up a lot the last 5 years. So it's gotten really expensive. So I'm moving the hotr.6bolt.com over to a different hosting, so it'll be down for a couple days. And I did just create a quick backup site at hotr.dr-doom.com. So if that goes down, you can always go there. It doesn't have the YouTube stuff working, but you can just click on the video to go to the video at YouTube. But everything else is like working, so that's kind of just backup. So when I finally move it over, so if you see it go down for a day or two, that's kind of why. Okay. The next one is like I probably want to show a feature that probably no one probably knew existed, really. So if you come down here to the tray icon, instead of left clicking the icon, you right click. There's actually a menu here. So if you just want to do something quick and simple, you can just do that. So that was like, I put that in a long time ago, but I don't think people ever knew this little menu was here. So you can usually do that. Or if you bring it up, it's not going to be down there. So all you do is just come here, right click, and you have add light gun, edit light gun, player assignment, and test com port, and quit. So that was kind of a feature I don't think anybody really knew about too much. Okay, so now let's get into the bugs. So the first bug was orientation was showing up in the output signals section. So when you bring it up here and the game would start playing, orientation was showing up in here and the output signals down here, which is not good. Should be right here. You have orientation and pause there. So I fixed that. So that was an easy fix to do. And also I saw that Demol Shooter now, instead of like pause and orientation, now it's using main pause and main orientation. So now I got to look for those two along with pause and orientation. So that's kind of a little, but now that's in there too. So now I fixed the pause and orientation and also put main pause and main orientation in there, and it's working. So that was one bug. And here I can actually show you is here. Orientation showing up. So the next one was the TCP socket connection to main was taking a long time. So actually I had to do a lot of testing. It was kind of weird. It's very dynamic. Sometimes it was connecting really fast, and other times it was taking like 3 or 4 seconds to connect. And what I eventually found out is if I put the time really long waiting for connection, Windows didn't like that. Windows, after like about like 3 to 5 seconds around there, it would just stop looking for the Windows would just shut it down for some reason. I don't know why. So that's why it was taking like 3 or 4 seconds because Windows just shut down the connection. Then when it goes through another cycle and restarts it, then it had that section again. So now I just changed it to a second, then it just keeps on cycling really fast. So now everything's connecting really fast to it. So trying to connect to a TCP socket is at 1 second. But the Sinden TCP server actually goes for like 3 seconds. So that's a little different. But yeah, that's why I was having some like timing concerns with that. But that took a long time to kind of figure out what was happening because I didn't, it was all due with Windows. And yeah, and Windows suck. I'm not really too big of a fan of Windows or even Apple. I probably hate Apple more. More because their hardware design is horrible. Okay. So I can show you that bug here is here. Then the next one is nothing is displayed when Hook of the Reaper is first opened. So if you first open like Hook of the Reaper, usually there's nothing in there. So here I'll open up the old one. And you kind of get this blank nothing here. So now I fixed that, so now it'll start showing up stuff. So now if I load up the next version, and now you can see now stuff is in there. Then you can see the TCP socket connection and all that. So that was kind of an easy one to just update it because I just had it updated when it first connects and then goes on from that. So that was an easy one to do. Okay, so those were like the bugs. I think they were all filed from me. I did them. So pretty much all, like probably like 90% of the bugs is all from me. Okay, so let's get into the enhancements. So since I kind of get all the default LG game files done and got the milestone done, I wanted now just to clean up everything before moving on. So the light gun class code was getting like too big, especially to kind of go through and look through. I pulled it down, and there now is like all the member functions are so big I had to like scroll through them. So now it's not that bad. I cleaned it up. I moved like simple member functions into the header file because that was like if you're setting one thing, you just say set this into the header. You don't need to move it into the source, the C++ file. You can leave it in the .h. And also, like kind of from the last time, I split out the display commands. So for display ammo and display other, now it has a normal and a 2-digit version, depending on the light gun. And for display life, it has a normal version, an open fire version, and a 2-digit version. So depending on the light gun. So I kind of cleaned that up and fixed it up. So, okay, the next one was actually from enhancement from me. Is down here. So when loading the game file, filter the commands based on the light gun commands in its settings. So that's kind of with all the new settings I did with, reload, damage, the life and death, and the shake feature. If you turn those off, now it should filter those commands out now. So it shouldn't be getting processed. And also be filtering out what Hook of the Reaper is looking for. So if you're not doing that, and also for the light gun, right? If the light gun doesn't have a display, it shouldn't be doing all the display commands because it will process, display ammo every time the ammo goes down. And if you have no display, that's kind of just like wasted cycles. And that kind of go through talking all about that and why it's kind of like a lot of wasted cycles kind of going on, and it's kind of trying to optimize everything and trying to get those cycles back. So here, let me show you this. Let me oh, I see. It's not. I have this open. Okay, so let's go to edit light gun. So Reaper, yeah, I had these turned off. So let's turn all these back on, and we can edit it. You hear the noise, and you have Reaper too. So both of them have everything on, right? So just do edit close, then come to player assignments. You have Reaper 1, Reaper 2. So what am I going to do is I'm just going to load up Jurassic Park because it has a couple things that I want to show. So I'm not going to play the game, I just need to load it up to show you kind of what happens. You can see over here it loads it up. So now over here you can see the loaded signals here, and also you can see output signals that I'm searching for. So you have MAME start, MAME stop, then you got player 1 recoil, player 2 recoil, player 1 damage, player 2 damage, lamp logo, which is a shake feature, and that goes for both players. This is a shake feature for player 1, this is a shake feature for player 2, and you got life player 1 and life player 2. So now that I did that, now let's go back to player 1. So this is player 1. Let's go to settings and turn everything off again. So we can do edit and close. And I'll restart Jurassic Park up again. Okay, now let's go back to it here. So as you can see, you have MAME stop, MAME start, player 1 recoil, player 2 recoil, but you can see player 1 damage is missing. Here's player 1 damage up here, but now it just has player 2 damage. Then lamp logo is a shake feature. You can see up here, it's all the players. Since player 2 has the shake feature on, I have to leave it in there. So if one light gun has it on, the other one light gun doesn't for an all, you have to put it in because the one other light gun that has it on needs it. So then you don't see player 1 lamp gun R because the shake feature is turned off. But then you come here and you're like, oh, why do you have player 1 life on? I thought you're not going to shake it when the person dies because that's what's used for the death. But if you come up here to player 1 life, you can see I'm using the block signal for player 1 life. So that's why it's still there. So if you come up here, you can see player 1 here. You have death value and the block signal, but you don't see death value kind of anymore. If you come down here to player 1 life, you just have the block signal. So the death value is taken out. And also you don't see any of the displays in here too, because you should have for display P1 life, you should have display life here too. But now since the Reapers don't have display, it's not going to show up. So now we can see, okay, these are the output signals that what we really care about, and that's what it will actually filter out in the other thread. So the first, the TCP Socket thread will filter that out now, and I kind of got that handshake done, so that's really nice. And now it's all kind of taken care of. And it's kind of cool to see. So it actually, every time it loads up, and it does this every time you load up a game. So if you go in and change your settings, you don't have to reset Hook of the Reaper or anything. It'll just do it automatically when it loads up a game. It'll automatically check everything. So if you change your settings, like I did right here, and I can show you, I didn't reset anything, and it did the correct thing, right? You don't have P1 damage anymore. So that's kind of give you a visualization of what's happening and kind of what's happening in the code. Okay. So now that should optimize it more, because now, based on the light gun and in its settings, it takes it all out. Okay, then the next thing was kind of a little more onto the optimization is kind of processing commands are filtered until the light gun is connected. So kind of like a big one with this is if you had 2 light guns assigned, like here, like I had, but if the second one, so Reaper 2, is not connected, it'll see that and said, hey, it didn't connect. And then for player 2, it will not kind of process the commands. It will check to say, hey, is this connected or not? Where used to, it just kept on going. It'll send the command and said, hey, it's not connected, and not do anything. But now the filtering is a lot more higher up. So now it's saving a lot more cycles. So now it makes sure it's checked to see, yeah, it's connected or not connected. So then this also should be like fully taken care of, fully filtered when I get to advanced features. And that's where I'll be like scanning what light guns are connected all the time, like every 15 or 20 seconds. I'll see if a light gun got plugged in or something. Then it'll be a lot easier to know what's plugged in than, easier than not to see it when I load a game and said, hey, did it connect or not? Then I can tell if it's plugged in or anything. Okay. Then the last one was, I think this is the last enhancement. Oh, no, it's actually, don't capture display data when Hook of the Reaper is in the tray icon. So when the Hook of the Reaper is in the tray icon here, like when it's up here, it will capture the data, right? But if it's when it's in the tray icon, it's not capturing any of the display data anymore. So you would have to open it up, and once you open it, then it will start capturing the data. So kind of like we saw in Jurassic Park, all those signals show up right at the beginning. If you have it minimized and you bring it up after that, it will only show you signals that are changing at that time or have changed since you open it up to the desktop. And kind of I did this for a couple things. It's just because I don't think I think 98% to 99% of people have Hook of the Reaper always in the tray icon pretty much. It's like when you add a light gun or you need to change some settings, that's probably the only time you don't have it. A lot of people don't have it looking at the signals all the time. So it's kind of a waste to do that. And also those signals are delayed all the time. So if you go into settings, it's at 400, so 0.4 seconds or 400 milliseconds. It's delayed all the time. So it's not like a good representation unless you change that display down to a lower setting. And also now that we have LG TCP tester, it's kind of not needed, right? It's just, I know a lot of people use that more. And also it can log and it gives you the time of when it changed and gives you a lot more info. So even I use that a lot more than looking at the display stuff. It's just, so I just don't think it's needed, and I think it's just more wasted cycles. So just to try to optimize it the best, I just say, hey, don't capture any data when it's minimized in the tray icon. So it's a pretty easy one to understand. Okay. Then the next one is kind of like a big one for the GUI. So what I did is I just moved all the settings, light gun settings and settings into the light gun, add light gun and edit light gun, which where it should be, to tell you the truth. So I think you might have seen that when I was opening some things. So here, let me open up Hook of the Reaper. So now if you come here to like add light gun, you'll see there's now a third tab. So you got the interface tab, and the interface tab, this is kind of just for, you know, person kind of starting out, and just it's really easy just to do, right? You only need to really do two things most times. Like if you had a Reaper, and if you're just starting out, you just have to put a light gun name, and you have to put the COM in, then you can add. So it's like two things. And most guns are like that to do. The only exceptions are the MX24, because now I come here, I update a little more, because you have to have what USB player you plugged into the hub, the Firebase hub. So you have player 1 USB, player 2 USB, player 3. So player 3 and 4 don't do anything in the USB, only player 1 and 2 do. And that's kind of what I talked about at the last release. It's more about where you plug it in the Fire Hub is where kind of what commands it needs. Then you have like the Firebase hub, which I know 3, and we still have the info. So that's 3 things a person. So you need the name, the USB in the hub, and the COM port of the hub. Then the most other one is the send-in, where you need the name, the port, the player, and the voltage. So that's 4 things. So most people can now just, if they're just beginning, they just come in here and just do the things. Usually only 2 things you need to do. You know, like if you do BlamCom, it's like bam, put the name in, the COM port, you can hit add. Then, you know, it kind of gets more advanced. You come here for the settings, you can do the recoil priority, then you can do all the other settings I put in, reload, damage, death, and shake feature. Then now this is the new one, which is the advanced and display settings. So this is just pretty much for the Reaper and the 3 guns that have displays. So if you come to the Reaper now, you had the settings and settings before, which was disable control of the side LEDs. These are the 5 LEDs on the sides. So then I have large ammo, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Then also now I have, you can disable the slide holdback. So if you disable the slide holdback, it will not send the Z0 command anymore. It'll just send Z1 instead of Z0. So you're always going to have one red LED because there's no really way around that. I can't send a command to make them all red. And sorry, you're going to have 4 red and 1 orange. Sorry, I meant 1 orange. You're always going to have 1 orange and 4 red because the Z0 makes them all red. But now you can, if you don't want the slide to be held back anymore, you can disable it. So when you take that off, then you have the other settings. Enable the hold delay, which I had. Then if you don't want to do that, then those go out too. And if you turn them back on. And like I had them last time, if you forget what the default is, you can just go right here and put and get the default for it. So that's kind of the Reaper settings. So now let's get into the display. So the first one is open fire. So you have the ammo. You can say what's your priority, ammo or life, and also you have the display other, which is kind of debug. And also I now have, if you want to turn off the display. So even if you have a display, you can say no display and won't send any display commands. And you can see that takes all that out. Then over here is display ammo and life. And if you do that, that will take out number. Then you can do that. So that's kind of what's happening with the open fire. Then the next one is the alien gun. And like I found out, like some of the alien guns, some of them don't have the 2-digit display. So that's why I have a little checkbox to say hey, if your alien gun doesn't have a display, then you want to check this, because then if not, you're just going to be sending a whole bunch of display commands all the time. Then the last one is it hasn't really got here yet, but I just put it in because I know it's coming. That's with the Blamcom for their alien light gun, which has the 2-digit kind of display on the side. So if you have the Blamcom with the 2-digit display, you can turn this on. Then you can do that. But I don't have the commands yet. So when I get the commands, I can update the blamcom.hor file. But I don't have those yet, so I just put it in because I know it's coming. So that's kind of all the settings. So the display and that went into this tab. So now it's moved out of the settings. So now if you go here to the settings, and now it's not that much at all. It's a lot more smaller than it was. And the good thing is if you had version 1.2.2, it will read all the settings in your light guns and set everything up globally and save it. Then you can come in and change per light gun if you want to, because those settings were global. So with the Reaper, if you set the delay to like 165 milliseconds, that affected every Reaper light gun. But now you can have one Reaper at 145 milliseconds and another one at 165. So it's all based on the light gun now. It's not a global settings. So I moved all that other settings into the add light gun and edit light gun too. So if you go to edit light gun, now you have that. So that's the Reaper, and that's why that's lit up. Because I wanted to do that for a while, and I kind of had to do the tab thing to get them in there. And now I had the tab, it was easy to do to get it in there. So that was another kind of big thing to do. Then the next thing for the OpenFire kind of was doing the testing. It was working, but it was missing numbers sometime with the display refresh. So especially when you're showing ammo and life. So if you're just displaying ammo or life or the display other, it goes from 30 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds. Then if you're displaying ammo and life at one time, it goes from 30 to 55. So when you're displaying two things, it really needs that extra time. So I updated the display refresh, and now it's working as it should be. But I think I updated the firmware, and now when I was testing it out, it wasn't getting everything. But, okay. And like I showed you, the setting window is a lot more smaller because I moved everything out of it. Okay, then the last enhancement was the Reaper LED control, which comes out down here. And I kind of split this up into two parts. The guy wanted to control when you start dividing the number down. And also he wanted to say, hey, if it's over 25 bullets, have it like turn off the LEDs and have it work normally until you get to 25 bullets. Then when you get to 25 bullets, then it will show you the orange and red kind of LEDs, and you divide them down. Then the other one, if it was like over 5 bullets then it would go until it was 5 bullets. So, but I'm not going to do the second part. So as you saw the setting here, there is a large ammo setting. So this is when it starts dividing down the LEDs. So at 15 and more, it will start dividing. So 15, since you have 5 LEDs, it means every 3 bullets, it's going to take. So every LED is 3 bullets. And if it was 20 ammo, then it was 4 bullets. And it's 25, it's 5, kind of thing. So that kind of starts when it starts dividing down. So if it's 14 or less, it won't start affecting it until you get 4 bullets, then 3 bullets. So it's not kind of the bullet. So the LEDs, way to think about it, so 14 and under, the LED is 1 bullet. So from 15 and up, then that gets divided down. So at 15, like I said, it's 3. So it's 3 or more bullets kind of thing. And like I said, I'm not doing the second part because not too many people have asked for it, and I think it will cause a problem with Reaper because a lot of times the LEDs can get mixed up when you turn them on and off a lot of times. So it's not a good thing to do. So that's why I'm not doing the second part. I'm just going to do the first part. Okay. Then the next one was push game start and game stop into the TCP socket thread. So now it looks for the game start and game stop into the socket thread too. And then it will tell the hooker engine, hey, a game started or a game has stopped. And also, we'll do the main and main pause and main orientation stuff too. So now instead of sending a whole string list, now it just sends the signal and the data with it. So now it knows, hey, you're looking for this signal in this data. So it sends that out to it, and then it processes it. So now it's kind of working a lot better, and it's cleaned up. And also, if you look at it, the exe for Hook of the Reaper is actually 20 kilobytes, or 20 kilobytes smaller than what it was. So now it's have made a big kind of a reduction for all the optimization and cleanup I have done. Then the last one I kind of talked about already, which is the 2-digit display on Blamcom. That's for the alien gun. So when I get it, I'll update the blamcom.hor file. And kind of this is just, this turned out to be a lot longer. I just wanted to optimize it and clean things up before going on to the LED and light gun code, the controller, sorry, the LED light controller code. But I just wanted to put the light gun code into a good place and make it stable and make it optimized. But I did all the testing I could. It seems like everything's working, but if you find anything wrong, just file issue for it. But that's that. So that was kind of a lot of stuff. It seemed like a lot of changes. But now it should be hopefully more optimized, runs better, filters out a lot more stuff. So that's it. Thanks. Bye.